This is your video for how to transfer your portrait mapping to your large piece of paper. I've started with my portrait map that we had made in the last video where I traced the outline for the portrait using my phone and a piece of paper. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to transfer it to large paper. I'm going to use this to represent roughly the borders of my paper, okay? And then I'm going to just draw this, which is basically some shapes and some lines, onto this paper. All right, so I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to do this a little darker than I want you to do it, just so that you can see it on film. I want you to do yours very lightly because it's going to be very difficult for you to cover it up. All right, so my head shape takes up quite a bit of my paper. So I'm going to map out that it starts there and it roughly ends here. Okay, so I'm going to best represent this head shape on my paper. All right, I feel like it should be a little wider than what I have here, so this is the time in which I would make those changes. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of that extra. All right, and I'm feeling like this is a fairly good representation of what I have over here. Okay. At this point, I'm going to try to get this angle that I have on my, let me move this a little closer so you can see it. I'm going to try to get this angle here exactly the same on my new paper. So I'm just gonna kind of give myself a little tick mark there to show myself where that midline is going to go. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to do the other three. So this one is halfway between the chin and that headline. So, and I'm gonna make sure that it is at that same angle. And then this one is halfway between here and here. I'm gonna put that one in too. This line, if yours happens to be slightly curved, this one's gonna be pretty difficult. So I'm gonna use these lines that I already have in place here to kind of help me with figuring that out. Okay, so at this point, now I'm gonna start marking where my eyes belong, okay? And I should be able to use that measurement to figure out where the next eye begins and how long that eye is going to be. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put in my dotted line straight down, straight down. Middle of the eye is the next line. I'm gonna go straight down, straight down. All right, I also need to mark where the hairline begins. Actually, I feel like I want that to be just slightly lower than that. And for the eyebrows, I'm going to just put in lines where those are going to go. Next thing, I've got my neckline here and my neckline here. And now I have a portrait map. What I would then do is go back to my original picture and I would try to draw the things where they belong, okay? So in this case, we know that the eyes are gonna go here, okay? So we would go ahead and block those in exactly where they belong. The nose is probably going to be slight profile version. okay? And we would go ahead and block in, you know, the lips where those belong, okay? At this point, now I can really start to refine and I can really draw this exactly the way that I see it. I would put in hair shape, so wherever the hair might come up to here, if they're, in my case, I've got a guy with glasses on, so I'm gonna make sure that I put those in where they belong. And I'm gonna get this thing basically drawn in exactly the way I want it to appear. And then I would go back after it's drawn and I would do any and all shading with my charcoal pencils and my charcoal sticks.